What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are ready for today. We finally got a little potential action in the market. We'll see what happens. But we definitely have AJ in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert. Good morning to Amy, Anna, Andy, Bill, Joe, Lauren, Martina, Tim, Wendy. We got William in the house. Good morning to all my people out of YouTube land. We got Clarice, M. Sky, Pilot, Early. We got Ann. Good morning to you. Paul, good morning to you as well. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of nothing yesterday. Very, very good day to I don't know what the weather's like wherever you live, but if you went to the beach, that would have been a good idea. If you played Tetris, that would have been a good idea. Went for a walk at some point during the day. Fantastic thinking. Yeah, one, if we're looking at this 15-minute candle, we opened, we flushed, and then we did nothing all day except shop around. So I posted in Slack too. This is once you start to see this come in, and obviously you don't know very, very early on what kind of day we're looking at, and there's a lot of head fakes, but there's a certain point where like this thing is just there's a trap for the Bulls. There's a trap for the Bears. There's a trap for the Bulls. There's a trap for the Bears. Trap for the Bulls. Trap for the Bears. Very difficult to day trade. But we're just waiting really for today, and I don't know what today brings. Maybe we could have a little action early morning, and then we just kind of wait as well. Yeah, if you had contracts, you had options. You were losing theta, especially any zero day yesterday was not the day for it. If you put a little time on it on those contracts, you're still in the game. So we do have the gap up. Otherwise, for today, we're sitting like we're okay. We're right at that 200 EMA on the 15 minute from what I'm looking at. I got today's VPOC so far on the 15-minute chart with extend hours, 562.31. So we're gonna have to kind of recapture that. And I think if we can get past 562.52, just again on the 15-minute chart, we should get a push to like 564.37. All of that is really irrelevant. It just comes down to what Jerome Powell wants to say for today. So yeah, when he says I don't trust the move so far. So far, it's a good open. Again, unlike yesterday, which was a bearish gap and go, so leaning in the bearish direction was the correct move. But once we started hitting some of these support levels, uh, that's where I was looking to try to go long, and we just stalled. We just didn't do anything. A lot of the selling at the beginning of the day was just quick, no reason for it, nothing, no real news around it. We had Trump talking to Putin, and it sounds like good info. I don't think it was anything crazy that came out of the meetings. I think it was more like a hostage swap type situation than like we're having some serious peace talks. So I don't think we're at that stage yet. But we'll see how it happens. We'll see what happens. And today, and then after that, we have Jerome Powell. That's really it for today. So, which will be a good market mover. I don't think we get a rate cut. I don't think we get a rate hike. I think we get a whole bunch of nothing from that. So the market, I think, is pricing that in that we get really nothing today. Nothing really changes. What he says, how he says it, that's what's going to affect the market. So you see some reaction at 2 p.m. We'll probably pull right back over the next, so probably 15 minutes of action, 15 minutes of pulling back. We'll reset, and then when Jerome Powell talks, we'll kind of get almost similar, same type of reactions. But during the question answer portion of it, that's where I expect some market movement. That's where I would like to see uh, if we could get if he and I think he's going to give us really the same speech. I don't think he's going too crazy, but if we get anything in terms of like June is looking definite or most likely, or we're optimistic about some of the numbers, we should see a good pop out of here. I would assume because that would relax the markets. We are, like we said yesterday, we did hit the 618 retracement perfectly, and if we get something in a bullish direction, some positivity, as long as we don't get negativity, I think we are probably going to see a little bit more bullish buying coming in. To what extent, I don't know. Again, depends on his comments. If we get a rate cut, the market will. I think the market will like that. They should, but I don't see that happening. And then how we answer some questions, if we're just going with the same data, that's just going to probably leave us in this sideways chop for a little bit longer. So we'll see how that plays out. Other than that, we do have SPY. It is gapping above some key levels, so that's good. It is a gap and go. There is a little bit of slight bullish sentiment so far this morning. We got 561.58 is our first little support. One after that would take us into 561.32. So if we get a little pullback at open, that's where we'd like to see some kind of support to step in. Otherwise, you got psychological number from yesterday's open. That's going to be a little resistance, 564.96. I think we can get past that today. 568.87 on a weekly basis. And again, we've only had one day so far, or 2 days so far this week, but we're still inside that hammer. And we're just really hanging out around this 100 EMA, even on this, oh, my bad, 50 EMA on a weekly. Looks like we're slightly at it, maybe a penny or two underneath that 100. So if we can start recapturing, maybe that gives us a little hopium even into Jerome Powell. So we'll see what happens, but seems like a little bit of chop so far, slight little bull edge today, but I don't know if the Bulls really want to come in. I don't know if they have to come in until they get a little bit more data from Jerome Powell. We got the Qs. Same thing, a little bit of a gap up. You got support on this one, 475.06. And then 477.16 would be the next resistance. If you get past that one, 478.56. And probably somewhere within that range is where I'm kind of banking on the pre-Jerome Powell, after Jerome Powell. Who knows? But that's why we'll have the show tomorrow too. We'll recap everything that Jerome Powell says, and if anything is crazy moving, or if we're starting to set up any type of sentiment change to the market. He has the power. This was the day over here. Even though we did break higher than it at one point, this was the day where everybody up until probably 2:30 p.m. on December 18th, we were going bullish, rate cut, rate cut. Everything is okay. We're just going to nonstop rate cut. The market taking it a little bit too wild. That was the day. We didn't really ever recover from the day. We had a few days that surprisingly closed above it. And then after that, we just kind of gave it all back. So whoever was in it, their realities kind of kicked in. Let's take some gains and pull back. So he has the power for a longer term shift. Everyone keeps telling me about this moon thing too. So that was a full moon. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin, if we get a rate cut today, Bitcoin should love it. I would assume. Otherwise, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty much 11 days in this range. And then if you want to go back to there as well. But this is so far a really good, that should have been our support. That's now our resistance. And if we can start getting back above it, then we have a chance at the 200. We got to try to recapture it. But crypto, I think will have a decent reaction today off of Jerome Powell. Again, I'm not expecting any rate cuts, but if we get more of a signal that we are definitely getting some rate cuts in the near future, or it's most likely, or the Fed is in unison that it's probably going to get cut and plans are still intact. Great. If we don't know what tariffs going to be. We really still have to see. I think that just puts us in some more sideways chop going forward. All right, let me see if you guys got tickers. GM, I'm guessing that's good morning, but then you follow it with AC. So I don't know what the AC is. So we'll start with, oh, Albert. Okay. Got you. Well, we'll start with GM, even though I know that's good morning, but then I was like, I don't know, maybe it's two tickers. We got General Motors is hanging out. I think they did have some volume yesterday. I think they had a little bit of a news actually yesterday with NVIDIA. I believe that it was them partnering with NVIDIA to make some autonomous driving cars. And we'll see how that plays out. But inside day, they kind of faded that initial reaction. The next one I see is Tesla. Tessie. I like this location. I did buy some calls yesterday. I'm still holding. It is a gap and go. You had a really good double bottom over here, somewhere around 233.06. So that should have been some type of support, and maybe that's going to be a small resistance. Otherwise, I got my targets back to like 239.06. If we end up fading, which it's Tesla probably will, but if we end up fading, we want to stay above roughly 230. They're telling me 230.17. I had 230, yeah, about 230.09. Stay above 230. So if we do want to retrace this, which we're kind of again a little bit of chop, but we have a lot of room. If we could get to this 239 zone, we have a lot of room to the bullish direction. It got a little bit scary getting under this 226.44 zone. So anything under that was looking kind of ugly, and then we really just came down to the bottom closing price of this candle from March 10th. So now you have a potential little double bottom in here. Like Wendy says, I don't trust it. That's a good phrase. I'm gonna make T-shirts that just say I don't trust it. They will be on sale. We're gonna sell those. Otherwise, yeah, look for that support. See if it holds. We do finally have a gap and go on Tesla. We have a lot of room. The only thing is that 233 zone, 232.73-ish is that first spot where we're opening, and that might be a little rejection spot. Watch that pull back and then see if we move. But Tesla will be an interesting one, I think, for today for sure. Let's see if we get some follow through. And if you go up to the next target, that's going to take you to you got about $8 in it. So not a bad day if we could get there. But so far so good on what we want to see. Boeing with a little bit of a gap up. Is there news? Japan Airlines ordered 17 more Boeing 737, 8 jets, adding to a previous order of 21. So Japan saving the day for Boeing. Nice little gap up there. Um, Depends on where this one wants to open, but right now we had a lot of volume for March 4th. We're above that. We're going to get tangled into some of those moving averages. I think your next immediate target would take you to about 170.17, and then you have a little bit of a retest in here too to confuse the whole situation. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of buying. You're right now, so far, pre-market, not gapping completely outside of that candle. You're still at the very high end range. I think this is a fade. I think some people might want to take some gains on this one, but we'll put this one relatively high on the list. If this one wants to pull back into 162.51, that might be the spot. But at least they got good news. They're obviously not at all-time highs. You had a fairly good bounce spot previously, but that's a lot of buying into this. Um, but fairly good gap though. So you have about $3 to the higher side, unless this thing wants to break out of that. Your next target is probably about 174.31. Puts me in Chopville. I would love to see at least a pullback. I don't know if I'd play it short for me personally, but if we could see a little bit of a pullback first, maybe I get a slightly better risk to reward. I'm concerned about a lot of those moving averages though. But good news, and they rip. Usually, any news on Boeing is bad news, but now you got some ordering coming in. All right, we got Nvidia. Nvidia. So they had their conference yesterday. Um, Jensen Huang spoke. There wasn't really anything like crazy, I guess, on it. In terms of the earnings, he talked about partnerships again, people he's working with, companies that are using the Nvidia chips. Nothing I don't think was like really amazing. Today, though, you do have a little gap up. You were right into that heavy resistance we've been talking about for a while, so we do have to get above this. If we get a close above it, maybe Jerome Powell could help. But if we can get a close above 117.43 or even intraday, we get a move past 117.43. I'd be looking for targets of like 119.50, and then maybe Jerome Powell could get us some closing above that 200. It's not the clearest inverted head and shoulders, but you have a slight one starting to build if we could hold up. So if that's your left, that's the head. If we could curve here, that would be our first kind of higher low. It is a gap and go support on this one. I would put at so inside day two at resistance. I think probably you get a fade on this one, but look for this 116.26 zone as a buy location. So if we could hold that and then we kind of rally and then we close even green today or close above 117.43, we might have a little reversal signal in Nvidia. We'll see. but otherwise the conference was a pretty much sell the news type deal. And he says, "What was the Japanese stock ticker that we looked at yesterday?" It was like, yeah, where is he? Mustafa. Well, we got another one today. What was the one you told me yesterday, Mustafa? The one he's asking for today. He's always coming in with these the latest and greatest Japanese stock. It wasn't this one, but this is today's. The other one ended with an A or something. Let me know, Mustafa, if you remember which one it was. This one is at a decent buy spot. Let's see. Uh, yep. So that was your 618 retracement. Fairly good. You got your 50% that we're sitting at now. Where's the volume? I think I'd want to. This is another one you probably could look to play. Let me see if I can get this thing off though. So you're right at that 50, and then the other candle that you're looking at is probably this one with the volume. So I think if you want to try to play this one, I think you could go bullish up here. Bullish, but this, I mean, again, they flow pretty nicely. It's a wide move. Um, you could probably throw a stop down here somewhere, I would assume, on this one. So stop here, and then realistically, the better spot is here. Or if you want to get a little more aggressive on it, you can even come down to here and then throw your stops somewhere around there. But that was the 618, and we're just sitting at that 50. So if we can start clearing that 50, that might be a good location to buy. I kind of like it. I don't know. Every time Mustafa throws out a stock, uh, yeah, he hasn't thrown in the. He said Happy New Year to Mother Nature, but yeah, I don't know which one it was from yesterday. All right, we got Shopify. Oh yeah. You can watch the video from yesterday. I forgot. These are on YouTube. He might come in and update us. We'll see. It's something that ended in A, I think, yesterday. But we got Shopify. That is a little bit of potentially good move. Depends on where it opens. I don't love it right this second. Now I do again. So yeah, 97.30. So if we could open at 97.30, we got support at 97.22. We got support at 97.15. You do have a lot of room. We've almost made it up here before, but 99.26 would be my immediate target. And we got close to it on this day, so maybe you have a target to like $100.12 if we open where we're opening. Anything that's opening under 97, we'll say 15, you probably see a little bit more of a pullback. But you do have a gap and go from here. Inside day on this candle. And see now I kind of don't like it again. Just depends on where this one wants to open. Watch this one at open. It's definitely beat up though. But for right now, if we open at 97, I'm gonna say be patient, see if you get a bigger pullback on this one. The bigger pullback technically could get down to like 94.71, even to the point of 94.18. I don't really want to see it get down to that 94.18, but we are above the 200. Yesterday we closed above it. I'd say 94.71 would be a good spot if you get it really good location for risk reward. Otherwise, gap and go, maybe see a little consolidation 95, 95, 93, something to that extent. But right now it's just kind of hanging out. Yep. Depends on the minute you look at it. If you blink, it looks different. So XYZ for block. Trying to build a little base on it. Um, I think your target is actually to no, could be a little higher. Didn't really ever retest this one, so I got 68.27. I don't think that happens today. Wild markets, Jerome Powell, maybe. If we get rate cuts, this actually will be an interesting one. If we get either rate cuts or Jerome Powell wants to come in and pretty much solidify that we're definitely getting a rate cut, give us more specifics. If we could get some clarity on that, PayPal, Square, SoFi, Those guys would probably do fairly well. This is not a bad location. It is a gap and go. Um, Maybe some chop until 2 o'clock, 2:30 when we get Jerome Powell. But you got your resistance at 60.58. You got your next one at 60.93. If you could clear 60.93, there's nothing stopping you for today up to like 63.36. But this is definitely a stock I would continue to watch for Jerome Powell today. And then if you can find a good setup and then can get your stop to break even before Jerome Powell, I think that's your play. So you might not want to be too hesitant to sit on it for a little bit longer. As long as you get those stops up to risk either less than or get them somehow to break even, which at that point would be about $60.93. If breaking that, we could get it even to see what happens from that point. But yeah, I think that one actually could be a decent one just with the news that we have. HPE, Mustafa says it's a different one. I know, but they're asking, yeah, Mustafa, the one you gave me today is different than what was the one you gave me yesterday, though. That's what they're asking about. They're loving the Mustafa picks. HPE is actually looking decent. I think it's got more room on it than most of the other stocks we looked at without much in the way. Probably got room to about 1637 though. That's your first spot. If you could get 1640, we'll say 1639, somewhere in that zone. If you get past it, which is there's some volume, nothing too crazy, you could actually see about 1685, which that would be a big move. On a swing trade basis, I think it looks good. I don't know how far, like this would have to be a big candle today to get to even 1685. But on a swing trade basis, it's really not that bad. You got all your volume here. Obviously, it was a green candle, but it was obviously a massacre. So that technically should be red. If you were holding it, you definitely felt a little red and sad that day. But you got your first close above it. You had a gap and go 2 days ago. You're making some continuation. Again, depends on where this one opens, but for swing trade, that might not be bad. For day trade, I don't know how far that range is, but it is opening in a good location though too. Interesting, Frank. All right, I think we took a look at Shop Ready. We got XYZ. Let me see. Um, Nvidia holding 116. Yep. So we looked at that one. I'm seeing if we missed any. Was that it? We got AAL. I don't know if we looked at that one yet. AAL. Um, this one I don't think would be rate sensitive as much, but for just a standard trade, inside day from yesterday, inside day from the day before. I don't know if you have much edge to this one. Even yesterday was a gap down. Interesting location, I think that we're at though. Maybe it has to come a tad lower. Let's see where we got this to. Um, yeah, we didn't get down to that 50% retracement yet. And then you also have an untested VPOC down to $10.81. I don't know if you have much edge today, Paul, on it. I guess your other spot is here, so that one kind of almost got retested. Your higher volume candle, I think you have some room up to this one to $11.66. So that would be your target again. Probably, I don't know about for today. If we get the market to cooperate, maybe potentially. But yeah, I don't have edge. Otherwise, right now that looks good, but we might have some more chop on AAL. Let's get that a little higher just in case. GIS. General Mills. Did they report today? Looks like they beat by 4% earnings per share. They missed by $112 million on the revenue side of things. And right now, just hanging out. This was a blown opportunity for the Bulls. I think you probably have some frustrated Bulls on this one. Probably heads lower. Um, that was a good looking, almost inverted head and shoulders. If this could have been some type of gap up, that would have solidified it. It is definitely well off the highs. It's also at an interesting longer term buy spot. So good spot for that inverted head and shoulders to kind of set up. But other than that, they missed it. They missed their opportunity. You have a little bit of support on this one, somewhere right around 58, 57. Otherwise, your next support is 58.10, and then you have your untested VPOC. I think you could probably get to 56.83 on it. Today might be a little tough again. It's a little choppy, and the market is actually gapping up. So it looks a little different than the market, but I want to play it for a fade. I think I'd have to play it in the same direction on this one. I don't see enough room in it or enough interest for me to want to fade that one longer. Let's take a look real quick at AMD. AMD, that one is looking a little AAL-ish. Yeah, gap and go from yesterday, but then you have your resistance somewhere around 104.86. This is so far gotten chop written all over it. Yeah, 103.82 to the downside, so you're at least holding yesterday. You do have a gap and go for today. Big location. If we could get a breakout, 104.86, that would look a little bit better. Otherwise, bigger targets on this one is 108.32. So we'll see if we can get up to that zone. That might come today if you could break those. That's a heavy resistance, 104.72. If you could break that, you might be able to snag another $4 off of AMD. So we'll push that one a little higher as well. All right. Costco, UNH. Costco continuing its little path down after some monster moves to the higher side. Very good location to be looking to buy. I would emphasize that as a swing as opposed to a long-term investment. I think we're not discounted enough for me personally as a long-term investment. But Costco has a healthy performance. Valuation probably still a little bit higher. I think you almost want to get back down to like the 731 zone. And for me, 561 because I'm cheap. So give me like that 561 zone, and maybe I'll buy some long-term stuff. I think we are relatively high. With that being said, you do have a good volume zone that we're sitting at right now, so it's not bad. Otherwise, you have we are still below that 200. That's going to cause a little issue, and then you're going to have right where we're opening is resistance as well. So 904.34. I think I prefer this to the downside. I'd be waiting though, see if this thing starts to get under 13 if it can. I think you're good on that one. The other one you gave me was UNH. I know the bell rang, but let's see if we can cover it real quick. UNH, definitely off its lows. You're starting to get into a little bit of potential resistance. I think eventually you're looking for a fade. Um, I would play this one to the short side if you start breaking 502.04. Otherwise, it's probably just hanging out there for today. We'll see. Other than that, everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you've not done so already. Otherwise, that was the morning bell. So we'll wrap it here. Big day today. Be cautious, be careful, and we'll see what happens with Jerome Powell, and we'll go from there.